Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I would like to welcome all of you for this very important topic on export way forward for pharmaceutical. And I'm thankful to all the panelists. They have already been introduced. So thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to not only attend, but to refresh the audience about what is happening in terms of export, what are the challenges and what are the opportunities. So as you know that health sector is very, very important for any country. So likewise, in Pakistan, we are also blessed that we are, taking care of more than 90% of our medicines need through our national pharmaceutical companies. And we are not only catering the needs of medicines in Pakistan, but also we are exporting to many countries. Pakistan pharmaceutical market at this point in time is about 745 billion in terms of Pak rupee, and it is consistently giving double-digit growth over the years. So that shows that medical community has very strong confidence in pharmaceutical industry, especially our national companies, because at this point in time, 72% market share is in the hands of national pharmaceutical companies. 20 years back, it was vice versa. So that shows how ably, effectively, and consistently national pharmaceutical manufacturers has not only increased their presence, but they have, with the passage of time, continuously improved improve the quality of medicines, and that's the reason medical community has strong belief and confidence in national pharmaceutical company. But unfortunately, if we look at export, and if we compare Pakistan pharmaceutical exports compared to our neighboring country, which is India, which has crossed 24 billion US dollar export. In 2003, Pakistan total export was just 44 million US dollar, and even today, it is somewhere between 350 to 400 million US dollar, which is basically very less if we consider the amount of activities and amount of innovation we have seen our national companies, because so export is the area which not only pharmaceutical industry is willing to take seriously, but at the same time on different forums at government level and DRAP level, we are listening from them as well that the top priority for our health ministers, whosoever is there for the last so many years, and DRAP is towards expanding export. But when it will be seen in actual terms and how this will be executed, what are the challenges, why we are so low in terms of export, what should be done, what are the way forward, this is the topic which we'll be discussing with our worthy panelists today. So I would now start the panel discussion, and my first question would be with Dr. Qurat. What are the major challenges and opportunities faced by the pharmaceutical manufacturers and exporters internationally?
Assalamu alaikum, and sorry I was a bit overtaken by the stalls downstairs and delayed in my joining the session. There are challenges and challenges whenever you are thinking of exporting anything outside Pakistan. We have achieved MHRA, but still we need more to have good volume of exports. You can get some toll manufacturers or people to start with, whom you can produce their molecules and export to UK. And only way out is to get ourselves accredited with FDA or MHRA or PICS, these type of international companies, then we will have volume in it. Though profits are not much, but you send containers. You know, before COVID disturbed everything. We ourselves exported 1.7 tons of ibuprofen to a company in UK, because at that time there was shortage and there are 7 or 8 containers. So if we have chances to get good contracts outside, but only if we have some accreditation. And the next thing is that other countries which we can approach when we have these accreditation, the world is open to us. But still, we have to have bioequivalence for many countries. So now the dollar has crashed so badly. A simple bioequivalence of single molecule, I think you people it costs $50,000 from a good lab. And if you have 2 ingredients, 2 API, it becomes $100,000. So our government, at least they should start a lab in which we can get our products bioequivalent to the competitor and export to less stringent countries. By earning from that, we can develop our systems, develop our equipment, and then export and go for the accreditation. I don't want we should go for accreditation, because this time is very, very difficult on the pharma industry, and the margins which were already very small, they have now vanished totally, and everyone is just moving day to day, no investment in new developments, and what to talk of going for bioequivalence study. So we all have to improve our local facilities, go for small changes, increase your GMP, so we can have Africa is a very big market, and even then they have one inspector. I talked to him while he was visiting our plant. I asked, how many plants you have visited? He said, it's my 400th inspection in your unit. And I think it was before COVID, he qualified our unit, and after visiting 3-4 units, he came to me and he shake hand with me. He said, well done, Dr. Qurat. I am very impressed. After going through, I don't know which companies he visited, so we should become an example. Even African inspectors don't approve. I think you people will agree to me. Even our African inspectors, they don't approve our facilities. And I am very happy the DRAB has increased their skills, and they are now doing very good GMP inspections. So we should be more prone to improving our GMP, our equipment, our personnel. The personals are very ill-trained. We don't have any institute or any guidance for our people who are on the machine, who are taking the major chunk of production. And it is very interesting. I will close it down here. जो भी इंस्पेक्टर आता है ना, वो हमसे नहीं पूछता कुछ. तो कहते I will ask your operator, I will ask your pharmacist कि उनको अपनी चीज़ों का पता है कि नहीं. So we have to train our जो operators हैं, technicians हैं, to have GMP. and सबसे जो बड़ी एक है कि personal hygiene पे हमें कोई ना टोकता नहीं है. And if we develop के कुरान है, नमाज है, 5 दफ़ा वज़ू करना है, but we should not smell. So people, they get irritated. In one of the audit, we have to send some senior person out of the room because of this hygiene. So we have to develop internal systems that strong कि जब कोई auditor आए तो उसको पता ना चले कि मैं यूरोप में हूँ या मैं पाकिस्तान में हूँ. Thank you very much.
अच्छा मिस, I would like to add a little into this. Actually आपने जो intro दिया बड़ा interesting था, लेकिन in order to know why we are here, we need to know कि यहाँ आज हम क्यों हैं. मैं समझता हूँ कि इसके 4 very major responsible levels हैं. One is we as an industry, as entrepreneurs that the way we should have invested in our plants, we have not. At least the top 50 companies have no revenue stream issues or not reinvestment issues. But the way in the last 75 years, only few companies came up to the kind of investment required for the international accreditation. The number one responsibility lies to the pharma industry itself. The second major responsibility for these 350 or 400 million exports is our technical people. They have not developed that depth that is required to meet the international standards or to come up their plans to that level that is required for the international accreditations. We just work hard to pass on the inspections and that's it, then we just relax. And third level is academia, I believe, which is one of the major pillar that if you see as of today, none of the university in Pakistan, they offer any tailor-made courses for the quality control, quality assurance, ICH guidelines, or WHO qualification. CTD is implemented, but no technically sound accredited personnel is available because there is no institution. When there is no institution, so if you decide even to go for a regulated market, the human resources are not available. Last but not the least, the government, TDAP, and our Export Development Authority and DRAP topmost. Whereas for the very simple kind of documentation, a COPP, an export certificate, a kind of document you need FSC, it takes like days and weeks and months for follow. So these four levels, I believe, if they feel their responsibility, the kind of initiative PharmaExcel has taken in our neighboring countries, in 2004 they were less than $1 billion, today they are more than 25 billion. We tried a lot with under your leadership and the Pharma Export Council was formed, but it never became active. So these are the four main reasons to me that why we are here, and we address these. Hopefully 1 billion or 2 billion is not a big deal to achieve. Thank you.
My next question is with Javed Ghulam Sahab, he is CEO from Group CEO from Martin Daw. As I was discussing that the Pakistan's export is revolving around 350 to 400 million US dollar, but if we see that the market, at least for us, is around 78 billion US dollar in which we can enter. So, but we are still at 350 and 400 million US dollar. So in your opinion, what are the most promising export markets for Pakistan pharmaceutical companies?
Yeah, sure. Assalamu alaikum, and thank you very much, Tauqeer bhai, for inviting us here. Now, if you look at the potential for the pharmaceutical export outside Pakistan, we can divide the markets either from a business model point of view, or we can divide the market either from a technical point of view. If we see from a technical point of view, there are markets which are highly regulated markets. The markets that we talk about is US, Europe, Japan, Australia. These are considered as a highly regulated markets because they have very stringent regulatory guidelines. And then we see there's another group of markets which are more like a semi-regulated markets where the requirements are not that stringent, and Pakistani companies can penetrate in those markets. And then the third one is completely less regulated markets, I would say like Afghanistan or maybe some other few countries. So the way that Tauqeer bhai has explained that we have a potential of somewhere around $78 billion. So this potential is coming from mostly from a semi-regulated market or the less regulated market. Because as a pharmaceutical industry of Pakistan, unfortunately, Hamid bhai has also explained that we are not capable enough to get into highly regulated market at this stage. We don't have those kind of plants available with us in Pakistan. We don't have those kind of labs facilities. The dossiers that is required in those markets is not available right now. So it's still from a market which is $3.2 billion, which is Pakistan market, and if you see a potential of $78 billion market, I think it still is a very, very good potential. Now, there are markets which are divided according to the business model. if you go to the US market, is mainly, it is considered as a generic market. When I say generic market is that doctors are going to prescribe the molecule or a generic. They are not going to prescribe the brand. Now, the real power is not with the doctors, actually. The real power is with the pharmacies, because they can really dictate the market. Whoever is providing them good price, good discount, they will definitely dispense those products. And then there are markets which are branded generics market, where the doctors are prescribing brands, and then patients are going to the pharmacies and they're asking for that particular brand, which is the same model as we are following in Pakistan. So if we look from a pharmaceutical industry, we should be targeting initially semi-regulated markets and the markets which has a business model of a branded generic. In this way, we can really increase our export much better from $350 million. Definitely we can go to a more than $1 billion if we go seriously in those markets. Now, how to get into those markets is because when we say is a semi-regulated or less regulated markets, definitely if your entry barriers are less, then you expect a fierce competition in those markets too. Where entry barriers are high, you will see less number of players. But we are targeting markets where entry barriers are very less. So it means that competition is very high. We are not getting the kind of pricing that you can get into the regulated market, but still those prices are much better than Pakistan. By the way, Pakistan has one of the lowest pricing in the world. So wherever you go, you will get a better pricing outside Pakistan. So even Sri Lanka has a better pricing. Philippines, if you go and see, prices are more double than Pakistan, what we are currently doing. Maybe 2.5 to 3 times the pricing that we have. So kind of a profitability that you can generate from export is really good. The only thing is that we really have to penetrate and invest in those markets. Because when we say branded generic, because Tauqeer, you explained about the opportunities, so I'm not coming from a technical point of view, but more from a commercial point of view, is that if you go to the business model and if you get into a markets, you need to set up your own sales and marketing team who can go detail your product to the doctors, who can do the corporate branding for you. The first 3 years to start any market will give you a significant loss. So as a businessman, as a corporate, are we really prepared to, let's say, start 10 markets and start incurring losses? Are we really prepared for that? No, we are not, because we are not making good profits at a local level. So if you are making profits at a local level, which is sufficient enough to invest in the export markets, then our export would have been much different. So my position is that our profitability at a local level is not up to the mark, is not up to the level where the companies can invest and expand to those markets. But initially, first 3 years, you need to expand in those markets by investing heavily on the branding activities, scientific activities, create your corporate name so that people can trust on the quality of your company and the quality of Pakistan, because there you face competition from India, China, Bangladesh, Jordan, so many other countries. So I think this is the area where we have to work on. Pharmaceutical, again, I'm saying, is not a commodity. It's a pharmaceutical product. We are dealing with the lives of people. Quality is important, process is important. So anywhere where you go and get your product registration, the normal timeline is somewhere around 2 to 3 years. So today you want to start any new country, right now, it will take 2 years to commercialize your products. So we need to have that kind of patience level, and we need to have that kind of planning to really get into international business in a proper way. Thank you.
Thank you, Javed bhai, for sharing the way forward to identify the low-hanging fruits. My next question in those markets. My next question is with Nadeem Saab. In your opinion, how can Pakistani pharmaceutical companies overcome the regulatory challenges of exporting to different countries? And how far and at the moment you feel the industry is towards entering in the regulatory and high price market of like EU or FDA? So what is your opinion about this?
Okay, sir, thank you very much. Well, I would agree to whatever other colleagues have said, especially Javed sir. He has very comprehensively addressed all those things. We can divide exports technically and the commercial side, very well said, explained. But we also need to understand that what do we need to export? The product. Pharmaceutical is not a commodity, it is a pharmaceutical product, and which is highly regulated. By incident, 2 days ago, I was in a big conference in Hague the Netherlands, where WHO was organizing a local production forum where I think almost everybody from the pharmaceutical world he was there. So they were promoting local production in Africa, and I could see that African presence was enormous, and I met so many of them. And you will be amazed to see that at the moment we are focusing on Africa, but I'm really kind of anxious that even Africa will be getting out of our reach, because Africa has announced AMA, which is African Medicine Agency. They are going to harmonize their regulation, and their inspectors are as good as WHO inspectors or FDA inspectors. So please do not underestimate Africa. If it is a reachable market for us at the moment, it will not be in next 3 to 4 years. So pharmaceutical is not a commodity, it is a product. And how do we export? We qualify the dossier and we qualify the quality standards of each country. So that means the beginning point of our desire to go into export market start from the technical side somehow. Once we aim for a country, so we really need to invest in quality, training the people. I think those fundamentals are very, very, I mean basic. They are very basic. We should not be talking about those basic things at this point in time of the industry. But unfortunately, we have to that. We need to train our people, invest in the quality, believe in the quality, believe in the GMP. And this morning we talked about the GAMP, which is good automated manufacturing practices. And I thought that we are still struggling with the GMP. And now we are talking about the GAMP, which is very fine. But I think the secret is very simple. As a country, we need to be export-oriented. And as a company, we need to be export-oriented. Merely having an export department of few people will not serve the purpose. It is the culture of the organization, from regulatory to quality and to commercial. Everybody must think export, and that is the only way forward, not only for the company, but also for the country as well.
Mindset.
It is the complete mindset. It cannot be 1% or 2%. Doesn't matter how experienced that export person is, that he cannot bring the fruit until unless the entire company is thinking in one way, which is export. Thank you very much, sir.
You're absolutely right. If we look, Nadeem Saab, 10 years back, it was easier to get our product registered. For example, if I quote my company's example, that we have, we are number 3 ophthalmic company in Sri Lanka, and it was very easy to get, number of products registered. And when the time came 2 years back for the, renewal of the products, now they are, looking for plant inspection. And even in Africa, I think day by day the regulatory requirements are becoming stringent, and it will not be easier for those countries even which we are saying that they are easier to enter. They will also become difficult. So that means you are absolutely right, that the way Javed bhai also said, that we have to upgrade ourselves, and we have to continuously not only invest but also technically we have to keep ourselves abreast with the international standards, so that we are able to get our plants inspected and approved, and then it will be the next step to get our product registered. So my next question is from Adnan Hirani. He is our chairman PPMA for South. As you know that most of the pharmaceutical companies, when they start exporting, they identify and select certain distributor or partner outside Pakistan, and the next stage is that they should have their own team, but that is later stage. So most of us enter through distributor.
That's right.
So in your viewpoint, what do you think that how can Pakistani pharmaceutical companies build strong relationship with distributors and importers in export markets, and how critical and crucial this is?
For the starters, as Javed Saab said, I'll second. For a long-term solution, we need to have our own marketing offices, our own marketing personnel, just the way we are operating here in Pakistan. It's a very similar model all around the world. The thing is, since we're all short of finances, we don't intend to invest. As I said, it's a minimum 3-year loss that you need to bear, and certainly not all of us are ready for that. So in that case, we partner with the distributor. we provide him some extra funds because they're already there, they're existent in that market. There's a lot of fixed costs that we save upon. That's where we can start on, but building a strong relationship is undoubtedly a bit difficult because the low-hanging fruits or the semi-regulated markets that we're talking about are actually all captured by the neighboring country. I don't want to name that, but even the distributors are all from there. So it's getting very difficult for us nowadays, but nonetheless, it's not that we cannot cater to it. The only solution we have at the moment is to hang by those low-hanging fruits, start our work and move towards the progress, because our problem is हमने low-hanging fruit ले लिया, थोड़ा सा काम start हो गया, then we're fine कि यार अब हमें कोई कुछ नहीं बोलता. No, it's not the case. As Tauqeer bhai said, we started off earlier, it was very fine, but now when we're coming to renewals, it's getting difficult, and it will get difficult every passing day. So I think we have to have a strong hold with them, but we have to move on and prepare for the future. We can't leave that aside. We don't have a choice in that case. There's no other way around, Kenny. We might get, there's no might, nothing buts, ifs, no. That is the only solution we have at the moment.
You are absolutely right, and I would just add that entering a new market is very, very difficult, and it involves lots of investment. So those of us who are trying to enter any new market, and if they are entering through a distributor or a partner there, so it is very imperative that you should be able to identify the right distributor there. Otherwise, whatever investment you have made, it will be wasted if you are not able to find a very professional and a very, very effective partner there who can take your products along and can help you building your brand. Since you are not available there, your teams are not there, so you are solely dependent on the distributor and their team. So that is very, very important to find out the right partner there.
I'd like to add on to it with your permission. For adding on, at the moment, the solution we can have is all the new molecules, because normally what we do is, I'm selling all the conventional molecules in Pakistan. I have the dossiers ready, I have everything ready. I'll target those conventional molecules only. Actually, internationally, there is a gap. We should target new products. For that, we will need to upgrade ourselves. That's the only problem, because we don't want to upgrade ourselves. We stick to the conventional products. If we want new products, we'll have to upgrade ourselves. So that's a way out we have. And after the so-called incidents in our neighboring country, there is a huge gap and an immense opportunity for all of us till we tap for it.
Thank you. My next question is with Dr. Qurat. How can Pakistani pharmaceutical companies ensure the quality and safety of their products for export? And what steps should be taken to ensure high quality standards while controlling costs?
There is no cost controlling at the current moment, but we can develop our product as compliant to the competitor or a multinational brand leader in our country. Or if you don't find a brand leader of the molecules you want to launch, you can go get it from UK, few packs from UK, few packs from Dubai, anywhere, and make your product as good as the international brand. So one step is covered, and testing, like the way they test dissolution, disintegration, everything should match the competitors. And I am very sad the multinationals are leaving. Then we won't be able to have any competitor, because when the competition is there, तो फिर उसमें आपको play करने का भी मज़ा आएगा ना, first है, second है, third है. When all of them are leaving, so there is no competition. At least I can add a few things. Your excipients are a key role in your product quality and in your product standard. We take cheaper ingredients, okay, APIs, okay, and ingredients. So a patient who is using a multinational product, and when he take a local company's product, immediately realize there is some difference. There is no difference in the API, I can say, but so you should not compromise on your excipients for the quality of your drug. So when you are confident of your product and that it is as compliant to the multinational, you will be confident to export it, to sell it to any other country. This is the basic you have to do at your company. You should have all the HPLCs, gas chromatograph, all the testing equipment, and very good tableting machine, weight variation. 1 microgram weight spoils the dissolution profile of your product. So you should invest in European equipment that has very, no chance of weight variation or cupping of tablet or just other things. So you have to invest, and I'm sorry we are at this stage. I will not ask anyone to invest the way we invested in past. Our equipment from A to Z has raised not a single question from the international inspectors. All questions are for the documentation and for the training. Getting good equipment is a first step. They just come, okay, you have Killian, right, they have no question. You have Ullman, okay, they have no question. You have EMA coating pen, no question. You have Glad fruit bed dryer, no question. So you see, you come halfway when you have good equipment. And the next step, you have to have a good API source. Don't compromise on API. Test it, 3 lots mangaye, because you have to improve your stand. Even aap dekhega, after few years, even Afghanistan won't take our medicines, because when they will test and when they develop their industry, they will immediately realize we are not supplying the product of international standards. So we have to improve ourselves. And then we think of export, or the world is open for us. I don't know, मैंने आपका point cover किया है कि नहीं?
हो गया, thank you. And next question is from Mr. Hamid. What are the specific steps that Pakistani pharmaceutical companies can take to improve their export competitiveness?
देखिए, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल जैसे नदीम भाई ने भी कहा और सब दोस्तों ने ये बात की कि इट ऑल स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम अ माइंडसेट चेंज, माइंडसेट शिफ्ट जो है. I mean, generally, if you see around that people, they are happy with their success, whatever it is in the local market, and they are satisfied with whatever they are getting from the market, and they are not targeting the international market, where our total market is around 3.4 billion US dollars, which is 0.02% of the world market. The world market is around 1800 trillion US dollars. So I just remember, I recall a small incident that we were in Osaka, Japan for a management training course that was organized by the Japanese government. So one of the professor in the Osaka University, he asked everyone, all of them were kind of entrepreneurs from different countries of Southeast Asia, that what is the vision of your company in the next 5 years? Everybody was telling whatever they thought about themselves and their companies. And then he said, even a small shop that opens in Japan, they have a global vision. They never target the Japanese market. They always think that their product, their service, they are going to sell the whole of the world. So this mind shift is very, very important for any organization, any individual to develop themselves for the exports. Whereas I believe right now the nutraceuticals and the herb products, which are every company is diversifying at the moment, that has got a very big opportunity compared to the pharmaceutical industry. As our company, one of our companies, we got the US accreditation for nutraceuticals, and we are the first company, perhaps the second company, who launched their products in the US in the nutraceutical category. We launched our company, our products in UK. So we can never think of the pharma products to be launched in this highly regulated market. So I believe that, as Adnan said, the low-hanging fruits are these. The countries who are still not stringent, you access, and the access initiative should also be taken by the TTAP and the DRAP and association together. The second thing is that what you have a unique product or service you can offer to the world. And I believe the herb and nutraceutical products are a great opportunity for every pharmaceutical company to start with and to reach Africa or Southeast Asia. If you talk about the volume, the biggest market for the current standards and the current standard accepted by any country is the Philippines, which is the largest. But right now for our exports are largest to the Afghanistan. जैसे भी बहन ने कहा कि वो भी एक बहुत लंबी बात नहीं, भी वो रोकना शुरू हो गए हैं बॉर्डर पे, वो पहले वो टेस्ट करते हैं, 15 दिन रोकते हैं, फिर जाने देते हैं. Exactly. They have started already. Thank you.
So thank you, Hamid bhai, and let's proceed further. And my next question is with Javed bhai. How can Pakistani pharmaceutical companies use digital technologies to promote and sell their products across the border?
I just add few things here of the previous questions here, because you talk about the quality standards.
Sure.
And so I think you have explained very well, but I think one thing is very clear: the quality standards in the pharmaceutical are really laid down by the international bodies. So we need to follow the ICH guidelines if you really want to update and upgrade your quality system to the international level. So there is no other thing, simply all the standards have been very well laid down. And we simply have to follow, practice that in real sense, and this is the way we can improve the quality of our product, and we can bring our quality standards up to the par with the international standards that we have. Now, as far as the marketing, about the digital marketing is concerned in terms of international, I think digital is taking a role in every business model in every market that we operate, even in Pakistan and even international too. But at the same time, the basics of marketing will remain the same. You have to talk about the science of your product. You have to talk about the quality of your product. These are important things that we need to penetrate in every market. For example, we were discussing about the Philippines market or the Afghanistan market comparison. You see, Afghanistan, when we enter the Afghanistan market, the cost of doing business is much, much less than if you're talking about penetrating in the Philippines market. For your information, in every medical rep in Philippines will require a company maintained car. So if you have a business unit of 80 people, and 80 people will require a company maintained car. So your prices are much higher, but at the same time, the cost is too high. Unless and until you achieve a reasonable volume in those markets, you won't be able to achieve your break even in 3 years. So I think marketing has to be very creative. Continue? Or?
Yeah, sure, please.
So I'll continue. Marketing has to be very creative. We have to focus on scientific promotion, because when we go international market, it is we are representing not only our companies and product, but representing a country there. So if one company will set the right standards, that will really pave way for other companies to get into those markets. So I think scientific promotion is very important. The digital technologies can really play a critical role in really disseminating the information, scientific information, to the medical community and to the consumer. So this should be adopted at all levels, and I think this is what about the marketing and digitalization in international.
So you mean that by adopting digital advancement, we can further improve our presence outside Pakistan?
Yeah, because whatever we do, we have to be best in that, whether in terms of quality, whether in terms of marketing. In fact, your sales team has to be very knowledgeable. Even if you are using digital, but their knowledge base, you cannot compromise. The basics has to be strong in wherever you go, whether you operate in Pakistan or any international markets. But digital is one of the tools that you can use for marketing purpose. But the basic, all gurus are here, but basic of marketing is same everywhere.
So I would like to welcome Chairman PPMA, Mr. Khalid Misbah, who was stuck in traffic, so he reached a bit late, and he's one of the panelists for this session. Welcome.
Thank you.
Khalid.
Thank you.
So my next question is from Nadeem sir. What are the best practices for Pakistani pharmaceutical companies in terms of intellectual property protection in export markets? How can exporters protect their brands while operating internationally?
Thank you very much, Tauqeer sir. पाकिस्तानी फार्मास्यूटिकल कंपनीज़ के लिए अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ इस वक्त मैं देख रहा हूँ कि दो किस्म की हैं. जैसे जावेद साहब ने फरमाया कि मार्केटिंग कॉस्ट सिग्निफिकेंटली हाई है और पाकिस्तान फार्मा कंपनीज़ के जो प्रॉफिट्स हैं फ्रॉम द डोमेस्टिक मार्केट वो बिल्कुल भी अलाउ नहीं कर रहे कि हम हैवीली इन्वेस्ट कर सकें. तो उसकी वजह से दो ट्रेंड इमर्ज हुए हैं पाकिस्तान फार्मा इंडस्ट्री में. एक तो ये है कि वो वाया डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर, जैसे हमने डिस्कस किया कि वाया डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर अपने प्रोडक्ट को एक्सपोर्ट करने की कोशिश करते हैं और फिर उसको थोड़ा सपोर्ट करते हैं कि आई विल सपोर्ट यू इन फॉर्म ऑफ समथिंग इन काइंड और इन मनी सो दैट यू कैन प्रमोट माई ब्रांड. सेकेंडली अभी मैंने देखा है कि बहुत सारे अब दूसरे कंट्रीज भी बहुत स्मार्ट हो गए हैं, तो दे आर आस्किंग फॉर अ प्राइवेट लेबल और देयर ओन ब्रांड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट मैन्युफैक्चर्ड बाय पाकिस्तानी कंपनीज़. चूँकि पाकिस्तानी कंपनीज़ बहुत डेस्परेट हैं एक्सपोर्ट में, so they are also accepting this model of export as well कि ठीक है हम आपको एक्सपोर्ट में आपके ब्रांड नेम से बना देंगे. इस सिनेरियो में मुझे लग रहा है कि जो इंटेलेक्चुअल प्रॉपर्टी है उसकी सिग्निफिकेंस थोड़ी सी कम हो गई है, बिकॉज नाउ वी आर एक्सपोर्टिंग इन देयर ब्रांड नेम. इन केस वी आर एक्सपोर्टिंग इन आवर ब्रांड नेम, तो मुझे लगता है कि ये बहुत ही पैरामाउंट है. एंड वी एज अ कंपनी हैज़ ऑल्सो सफ़र्ड फ्राम अ सिचुएशन वेयर our brand name was taken by some other company, by some other country, and there was a great confusion. Of course, there's a restriction at the drug authority level as well that two same brands cannot be registered, but those were two similar brand names. So I would urge everybody, like we do, in some cases we also have our brand name registered or trademark registered in China and USA as well, because for some supplement product or for some medical technology products, because if those brand names are successful in the region, there might be somebody in the neighboring country or in China to produce that brand and start selling in the US market as well. So we urge our team members to get it protected in USA, in China, in Hong Kong as well, because these are the hubs where such kind of activities. So I would encourage to look after the intellectual property as well.
Mr. Javed would like to add something into this.
Yeah, when we look at intellectual property, we can divide them into two categories. One is the patents, which includes product patent and process patents, and the second one is your trademark and brand name. So normally the products that we are producing in Pakistan are off patents. They have completed the patent protection period, and then we develop and market those products in Pakistan. So patent is not a big issue as far as when we are exporting our products. But as far as the trademark is concerned, definitely is a critical issue. As Nadeem has explained, that we need to protect our trademark. And one way to do that is there is a Madrid Treaty. You can go and look into this Madrid Treaty. There are many countries who have signed this treaty, and if you can file your trademark in that treaty, that your trademark is covered in more than 40 to 50 countries of the world. So this is a kind of a shortcut that we have, that we can file our brand names under a Madrid Treaty so that we can get a coverage for the trademark protection in almost like 40 to 50 countries of the world.
Thank you, Javed Bhai. My next question is with Mr. Khalid Misbah, who has joined us recently. So, what subsidies and facilities should the government provide to facilitate exports and encourage more companies to look for international opportunities?
Thank you, Tauqeer bhai. I think, Tauqeer bhai, the first thing the government should do, or where we are lacking, is the collection of the correct information. So every company, if they want to go into an export market, they look out, like Javed was saying, they find a distributor there, try to find some information, which are the molecules that are, worthwhile there, what is the market like, which therapeutic categories are feasible and not. And we can look at the model of India as PharmExcel. I mean, PharmExcel does a very good job of giving out reports country-wise. It has very good authentic data on what type of therapeutic categories, what molecules are selling in those markets, the pricing categories, what type of regulation that market is having. We do not, unfortunately, in Pakistan have any such central database at the DRAP level or at the government level, or the TDAP level for that matter, or Ministry of Commerce. Yes, each individual chamber of commerce and each individual organization are doing certain level of job where they collect data. But I think that data obviously is also more like you sit on a laptop and you do a research on the internet and that's the data you collect. So I think that's something without information, without knowledge of what that market is demanding and what that market really needs, authentic data. I think there's basically a lot of energy is wasted by each individual company, and I think collectively as a sector, the pharma industry, that we are sort of trying to find our way through the dark, and maybe through a fluke or something we end up doing something well. That's good enough, but that's not the way forward. Yes, for the more developed markets, for example, Madam is sitting here, like Pacific is doing in England. Of course, you can have the robust data and things available, but not everybody can reach those markets. If we have 700 manufacturers in Pakistan, very few of them can target those developed markets, because that requires a lot of effort, investment, knowledge, and upgradation of facilities, which not everyone can, doesn't have the knowledge, or doesn't have the finances, or doesn't have the interest to do so. So that means you should look at the markets which you can practically actually achieve, and I think we call it a low-hanging fruit. So Central Asia, ASEAN countries, and Africa. But again, even in those, what does Nigeria demanding? What is Kenya demanding? What is Vietnam demanding? What is Philippines demanding? What is Turkmenistan demanding? What is Uzbekistan demanding? It's not easy to just collect the information. So I think the most basic requirement is authentic database and knowledge, and at the government level, that can more easily be provided. If many of these are Muslim countries, for example, many of these can be approached through the platform of the OIC countries and so on. So I think that's number one key, that you need to get the right information. I think the second part is where the Ministry of Commerce was working previously and TDAP was working previously, was that for registrations in overseas countries and inspections, they used to support by providing rebate or refunding the fees that you used to spend there. Of course, now they have become a bit more target oriented. When you talk with them about these facilities being there, yes, of course, number one, they say we don't have the funding, but they do have the funding in the EDF. They have a lot of funding available. But what they're more interested in now is that it should be something that is deliverable, that is achievable. So I think what they should do is make it target oriented. If someone just gets a product registered, no need to refund the fees to them. Once they get their first order and a remittance comes in, then they should refund their fees or something like that. Subsidize it in that way that it is target oriented, and that forces the company on an individual level to actually go out and try to actually conduct an export, not just get a registration and then sleep over it. I think thirdly, what the government should do is, they need to harmonize the taxation system. That is very much there. Whether it's the custom duties, whether it's related to import or export. See, we are dependent on imports of raw materials, we are dependent on imports of machinery. They are indirectly linked with the export. There is no way around it. If you want to export to a country and you need a certain QC equipment, you have to pay so much sales tax and duty on that, and that sort of goes down the drain as far as the individual industry is concerned. So harmonization of the taxation base is, of course, another necessity that the government needs to do. I think these are the three main parameters as far as I am concerned.
Thank you, Khalid bhai. My next question is with Mr. Adnan Hirani. As you know that over the years, we were fighting with DRAP to give us industry-friendly contract manufacturing policy. And that was an issue which we were facing, but with the strong efforts of PPMA leadership, finally we were able to get a revised contract manufacturing policy, which somehow is much better compared to the previous one. So in your opinion, how this new contract manufacturing policy help us boosting our export? Should we be able to attract international companies to get their products manufactured from us the way India is doing? So what is your opinion about this?
Dr. It's better, but we need a lot more better, because in short what's happening is even if on an individual level for our companies, we are forced to establish different units for all sorts of products or all categories of products. आपको penicillin चाहिए, the formula of getting it contract manufactured from each other is not working out, and that is actually because of the DRAP issues. As you mentioned, international people can come in for the contract manufacturing, but the thing is, we being in competition, we are not allowed an equal level playing field in the market, whereas we're inviting other international players. So we need stability, we need consistent policies, because the problem is once that policy is implemented, after a second or third meeting, there is another change in that. That's not how multinationals work. No one works like that. You need a consistent policy. If you got something done, it should stay put for at least 10, 15 years, because it takes time. It takes you 2 to 3 years to settle down with a project. By the time you start the project, the policy has already changed and you're again at a ground zero. So we need a stronger policy. Like in India, you have a marketing policy. If you're an expert in marketing, you don't know manufacturing, you get your product manufactured from someone else, which is called marketing authorization. You get your product marketing authorized from, you get it manufactured from another manufacturer, जिसका काम, जिसकी expertise manufacture करना है. तो हम unnecessary number of companies बढ़ाते जा रहे हैं, but हमारा volume अपनी जगह stand still पे.
Thank you, Adnan. Dr. Qurat, we have been noticing that over the last 2 to 3 years, TDAP or Ministry of Commerce, they are taking some delegation to different countries. Like we saw that 2 years back, the Prime Minister, along with the effort of TDAP and Ministry of Commerce, took the delegation to Sri Lanka, then Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, and even to Russia as well. So what do you think that such delegation arranged and supported by Ministry of Commerce or TDAP is important, and will it be helpful for the pharmaceutical industry to find out their partners and have meetings with different distributors there with the help of government? Because we have been participating in these delegations, which also involves lots of cost as well as the time. So what is your opinion? Such delegation supported by the government will be helpful for the export?
Yes, I remember once you took the delegation to Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan. So normally at this, my company also went. We did negotiated with them. Emails were exchanged, dossiers were exchanged, and then things they stopped. So the follow-up by the, say, embassies or something, when we are going to a country, they have ambassadors are there, they have commercial members are there. They do come and help the leather industry, they do come and help the surgical industry, but they never helped the pharmaceutical industry. So if we go to a country and start some negotiation and some follow-up with the distributors or prospective buyers, we exchange the dossiers, at least someone should be there in the country. They obviously they are there to support Pakistan, but they never support. They just sit in their office. Even they don't call a person if there is a dispute between a distributor. Many times it happens. Small distributors start blackmailing our company, so they don't play a role. So there's no point when our government is not supporting in the same country. At least they have some consortium or some representation there that this distributor, he blacklist, I want $10,000. So you have to give him $10,000 to shift to another distributor. This should not be like that. We are not earning that much that we should give them $10,000. No legal coverage by the government, no legal coverage even by the PPMA. At least we should have some lawyer who has a representation in different countries. It is a common problem every day. One distributor who is blackmailing, he say this, and he don't want to buy anymore, but he want this money, 10,000. It is in thousands, not few say $5,000, more than $10,000. So these things should also be then. We say, okay, forget it, we don't export to the country. So how can our export increase when we don't cap these type of problems? And they are happening every day. You must have faced, everyone. So we should join a strong stand. Bangladesh Pharmaceutical, they are together. Nothing can be moved without their intervention with the Ministry of Commerce, even with the government. So we are not strong to, have a tough time. You should give tough time to government, that they should respect us. First they respect us and then they help us. We are not beggars. We earn our own money. We earn our own from our own resources. But at least they should respect us. They come and do the photo session. What next? Nothing happens. So we should be proactive, no? We should fight for our right.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Dr.
sorry.
Qurat. Javed sir, what is the importance of PICS and other international certifications? Is it feasible to invest in getting these certification if considering the export?
Yeah, the PICS is like one of the guidelines that we have, which is set the standard for your plants and for your dossiers. So like PICS that you have all other authorities, for example, USFDA, UTGA, EMEA, MHRA. So these are the authorities and these are the guidelines that we have. So there are many PICS member countries. So if you are getting your plant approved by one of the PICS member country, it means that your plant is acceptable to other markets as well. Even European will accept your products coming from the same plant. So this is one way of getting like an approval and access to many markets by going through PICS. But going through PICS at the same time, we need to understand is not only a plant. We need to have a dossiers also which are acceptable in those markets. What I have noticed is in Pakistan, the many companies have invested, they upgraded their plant to the PICS level. But what they were lacking is the dossiers to file in those markets. So if you have a plant approved but you don't have a bioequivalent dossiers which are acceptable in those markets, then all your investment will go into waste. So these are the two parallel things that we have to work on. One is the plant approval, second is your dossier development, which is the product development according to the international standards. So I think it's important, very, very important. We have to go in this direction. Many companies like PharmeEvo has recently got a WHO approval, and I'm sure they are going for PICS approval now. And we have seen many Pakistani companies are either going to Malaysia or Uzbekistan or maybe Ukraine or other markets where are PICS approved market. So if your plant is approved by one of the PICS member country, that means that this is acceptable to other countries which are approved, which are member of PICS. So this way you can get a much bigger access if you have a PICS approved. Second, I would like to add one more thing. You asked Khadbhai about the government support. One area I would like to highlight here is about the state bank regulation, because this is one area where we are facing a lot of problem. Pakistan pharmaceutical industry is only allowed to retain 15% of your foreign proceeds to be remitted back. Now, you know, pharmaceutical is not the commodity. We have to invest in other markets. We have to reimburse the sales force salaries. We have to incur huge expenses on marketing in the first 3 to 5 years of operation. But we are only allowed to retain 15%, which is not sufficient enough to have a proper sales team in those markets. IT industry, on the other hand, is allowed, to the best of my knowledge, is around 50% or more than that. But pharmaceutical industry, unless until supported by the government in this area, if we are not allowed to retain our proceeds in US dollars, we will not be able to remit for the reimbursement of expenses, and we really cannot develop export markets because of this limitation. So this is, I think, one area where we really have to talk with the government and the state bank to allow us at least 50% retention for the export market development.
Yeah, I think this is very important. Otherwise, we won't be able to, compete with our neighboring countries. Yeah, and the next question is from Mr. Khalid. That the first step is the important thing is to enter into any export market, and another task is to develop your brands. So, in your opinion, how can Pakistani pharmaceutical companies build strong brands in export markets? And in order to build that, our brands, you are right that exchange proceeds should be increased from 15% to at least 25%. So, in your opinion, what are the other steps which we can take to to build our brands there?
Thank you, Tauqeer bhai. I think for the IT sector, it was just recently increased to 50%, and we as PPMA are actually, the Commerce of Ministry has asked us to submit proposals, and one of the proposals we are giving is that just as they have done with the IT sector, they should allow retention in pharmaceutical for up to 50% also, for the reasons that you just mentioned, to develop the market and so on. I think one actually way to build a brand is, or to develop a brand is, and there is no regulation that currently allows it. I mean, actually the company should be allowed to buy a brand that is already established there. So if there is a brand that is already established there, the problem is of course that it's not regulated here, it's not registered here. But if a company, the other country allows, there are certain countries that do allow this, that you as a company from another country can go and buy a brand there, which is already established there. Of course, Pakistan being Pakistan, if we propose something like this, हमारी तो यहाँ local registrations नहीं होती तो ये तो खैर हम भूल ही जाएं. But that's one way that you have to, I think, in my opinion, while it's very difficult in a place like Pakistan where we have over-regulation in most sectors, just like pharma, and the market is not allowed to develop inherently or naturally as it should be, because the government feels that, every government feels that they can do a better job by regulating it instead of allowing the market forces to determine something, is that, it's a very competitive world now, of course, has been for many years, will become more competitive as information exchange becomes easier and easier. Number two, with the devaluation and everything, it's becoming more and more tough for Pakistan to enter into the more developed and regulated markets or high price markets, I would say, as far as pharmaceutical is concerned. With the devaluation, the cost of entry is increasing, of course. Then there's the timeline that is required to develop a brand. So all these are challenges which every country is facing, but we are facing them more so than the other countries because of specifically the devaluation also. Because as far as the quality aspect is concerned, we are doing a very good job, rather a better job than I will say even our neighbors. But again, they have a huge market presence compared to us. They have a huge level of government support. Their currency, inflation, everything is better there right now. So I think we have to start thinking out of the box too if we really want to develop a brand in the market. The standard procedures or standard ways of developing a brand are there, and every company is trying their best to follow those. But we have lagged behind the world in many ways in this regard, and now we really need to jumpstart to really find the value where there is value, the value addition can be done, and where there is a gap in the market anywhere in the world. I think again I'll come back to what I said earlier, that before you establish a brand you need to know what is required where, and again at the government level this effort must be done. Yes, a sectorial council, Farooq Bhai is here, our former chairman. A sectorial council has been formed by the Ministry of Commerce, the Pharmaceutical and Cosmetic Sectorial Council, and one of their purviews is data collection and disseminating that information in the industry. So I think that's a good starting point, but again, maybe I'm repeating it yet again, but we are 20 years late as always. So we are consistent in that, at least we are always late. So we are late in this also, but we have started that process. So I think that can help us identify, one thing is to build a brand, a second and more important thing I would rather say is where to build that brand. So we first have to identify where you need to build the brand, because quality is good, our quality is good, we are competing in the international market at whatever level, but we are competing. It's not that if India or Bangladesh are somewhere and Pakistan has been thrown out of that market, that's not happening. People are growing in that market also. So investment is required, of course, as is suggested, that the retention of the proceeds. Number two, again, is the knowledge of the market. I think that is paramount, because we don't have the time or the resources to waste by doing things which have already been done. You have to be very focused on what you are doing. So unless you have the data, whether it's the data for the medical subscriptions, whether it's the data for the doctors, whether it's the data for the country's dynamic, whether it's the data for the therapeutic categories required there, you can maybe do exactly what is required to build a brand, but you are building probably the wrong therapeutic class or wrong brand, because that is not needed there. So I think I'll come back to the need for data analysis and genuine data, accurate data to move forward.
Thank you, Khalid. And my second last question is with Mr. Nadeem. In your opinion, how can Pakistani pharmaceutical companies compete with larger multinational pharmaceutical companies in export market?
I think that's a very interesting situation. As I explained just a while ago, that recently I met a guy from Bangladesh. He was the chairman of a big organization, and he explained to me that they are manufacturing more than 1,100 products, and that included from insulin to monoclonal antibodies and the complex molecules as well. And they're exporting to 95 countries. And he was in one of the expert panel as well. So I think the great way is to diversify, understand the strength of your own organization rather than trying to copy one successful organization. Try to build your own capability in your own way. One company might be very good in manufacturing, the other company might be very good in marketing. We can collaborate, and those two companies can collaborate as well. Find and create your own space, and don't forget to follow the path of the technology. I think these conventional dosage forms like tablet and capsules, they are very fine, but they are being replaced. If we look at the top 10 products globally, 7 out of 10, they are not tablet or capsules, and we are master in tablet and capsule. So I would urge everybody to go into the export market. It is essential to be aware that what the world is moving toward. Medical technology is moving very fast, and everybody is talking more about medical technology. Biosimilar is one area which has already emerged, I would say, and we are still talking about it. To be self-sufficient, I think, in many ways. So I would say that a diversified product portfolio is very much needed by every company who is trying to focus on export market, because the export market, we need to produce for the customer, and customer is not interested in what I am producing. So it is very important to diversify your technology and product line according to the global demands.
Thank you, Nadeem sir. My last question is with Mr. Hamid. Then we will have 5 minutes for the question answer from the audience, and then we'll conclude the session. What are the future prospects for the Pakistani pharmaceutical industry regarding exports? And what do you think should be the next immediate step to promote pharmaceutical exports?
Future prospect is very bright, and today's this session is quite evident of that we are talking about it. We are thinking of the ways, and we are brainstorming to resolve any major issue is the first step. And I think this kind of discussions and this kind of exchange of views is the way forward. And I believe now every company, small or big or medium, they are thinking to the mindset shift that export is the only way. If we think that what is the major issue of our country is today, that we have more imports and we have less exports, we spend more and we earn less. So the only way forward, there is no other way that every industrial segment, including pharmaceutical industry, should go for exports to help themselves, to help the country, and to help the crisis we're going through. So first thing is the growth and export mindset, first step. And at least any company who has not even a single export desk in their organization, they should start with a one person, one desk, and write down the export facilitation. जैसे ड्राफ्ट ने लिखा था कि एक्सपोर्ट का आपका एक बंदा तो बैठ गया वहाँ पे, चलें आहिस्ता वो बढ़ेगा, आगे बढ़ेगा. और फिर जैसे मैंने पहले बात की कि इस वक्त जो हमारे लिए रिलेटिवली जो ईजियर मार्केट है वो न्यूट्रोस्यूटिकल्स की, हर्बल की, होम्योपैथिक की, इसमें तो आप किसी भी कंट्री को, ऑल द वर्ल्ड इज़ योर मार्केट. This is the way to start with either your own product or you can have a collaborative product, and then you go for the less stringent market. जैसे भी तक हमारी मेकल में 70% एक्सपोर्ट थे अफगानिस्तान में, तो we should think, rethink and evaluate what are the opportunities available and what kind of threats we have, what are our strengths, and what is the way forward. Thank you.
So the conclusion of this discussion for the last 1 hour is that need of the hour is that we should all work together to expand our export. And this is only possible if, industry is geared up. I think the entire industry is geared up, and that's the reason we had a wonderful export seminar arranged by Mr. Harun Qasim and Dr. Kaisar Wahid 2 months back. And the entire government and all the relevant ministers were there, and this voice has been raised by PPMA for the last 3 to 4 years. And as far as I know, PPMA and pharmaceutical industry is all set to gear up, and we should also follow our colleagues who have the top 20 exporters of pharmaceutical companies in Pakistan. They are doing so well, and our leading companies are competing so well in neighboring countries, and We have seen that how ably they have been able to establish themselves, and their teams are there and their brands are established. So we should follow them. But we surely understand that involves lots of investment, and the need of the hour, one thing has been done, 50% task is done, that we are ready, but we have to convince government and DRAP to hold our hands. Government should give us incentivized policy, consistent policy. They should devise strategy. The way Indian government 15 years back decided to hold hands of industry, and today you can see that they are more than 24 billion US dollar export market, and skies are the limit for them. Similarly, the government should also, just PharmExcel, we have discussed, and Farooq Bukhari, our previous chairman, has worked so well to convince the Ministry of Commerce, and they are in the process of building this PharmExcel, and we are doing so well. But I think the government should also realize, and DRAP should also take it as top priority. So if industry, DRAP, and the relevant government, Ministry of Health and Ministry of Commerce, they understand that this is the most important. I think the pharmaceutical export is there. The way we treat new products, this is their new product, because lots of scope is there. So I think if this triangle is serious to expand export, then skies are the limit. And today, from 350 million US dollar, we can reach to 1 billion US dollar. But उसके लिए मेहनत और जुनून की ज़रूरत है. जैसे कि किसी शायर ने कहा है ना कि खुद ब खुद टूट कर गिरती नहीं ज़ंजीर कभी, खुद ब खुद टूट कर गिरती नहीं ज़ंजीर कभी, बदली जाती है बदलती नहीं तकदीर कभी. तो इंशाल्लाह हम अपनी तकदीर बदलेंगे. And lastly, for 5 minutes, the audience, if they have any question from the panelists, you please.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. My name is Ahmed Hussain from Baz Packaging Industries, or Pharma Packaging Industries. For the last 20 years, we are doing 100% export. So, very briefly, I'll share what we did. But I have a question as well. And question is that, although you touched upon it, but my presence is mainly abroad, and I see huge presence of neighboring countries, India and even Bangladesh. What is that they have and we don't have? Or what is that they do that we don't do? Our experience was that although we started about 35 years back selling to multinationals, primary packaging of pharmaceutical products and dispensing units. Now, we could not get the requisite price because we were high quality products. Now we are earning dollars for the country, and alhamdulillah, for the last 20 years. We participated in exhibitions and fairs in Europe and Middle East, and we got the recognition. I don't know whether pharmaceutical companies here are participating or not, I don't know. I have just one complaint as well. There's no member in any of the discussions and before even now from support industry, support to the pharmaceutical industry, like packaging. Just thank you very much.
Thank you. So, and any other question?
Should I, or you will reply
We will
this?
take only 2 more questions after you.
Okay, thank you very much for arranging this thought-provoking session. Thank you very much, Javed Saab, to highlight that issue of 15% retention. Definitely, it will be a great help if we get something more. Sir, I have a 2 specific questions. One from Dr. Javed Saab, that you have highlighted that that PICS and UK MHRA and this WHO will help us a lot. But in my experience and considerations, our sale is 350 and 400 million USD. It is not coming with the help of these accreditations. So we should sit and evaluate that, have we done the right efforts to get more before these accreditations? Like we are getting without these accreditations.
Actually, if you see the revenue that we are currently generating in export is $350 to $400 million, coming from which countries? So as somebody said, that 50% of this export is coming from Afghanistan, and the rest we can see few markets in ASEAN and few markets in Africa. And these are not regulated markets. So whatever we are generating is not coming from either PICS approved or WHO approved plants, which are these normally coming from our existing plants here. But if we want to go to the next level, for example, from 350 million, you want to touch $1 billion, then you need to explore bigger markets where prices are high, the regulatory requirements are more stringent. In order to penetrate in those markets, you need to have the right manufacturing facility which can be approvable by the regulatory bodies of those countries. At the same time, you should have to have a set of products which is also acceptable, which are bioequivalent product and can be acceptable in those markets. And this is the only way you can have a significant growth in export. Otherwise, you'll be just moving around $350 to $400 million in those markets and won't be able to get some significant jump in export.
Right. Thank you very much. And the second question is from Nadeem Rehmat Saab. You have highlighted the issue that people are tend to or thinking about the private labeling and CMO. I believe overall, as a pharmaceutical manufacturer from Pakistan, people are trying to avoid it. Yes, those people are working or trying to do that who have done everything and didn't get the out of something, the substantial value. And secondly, those who are investing a lot on their facilities because they know they cannot get the easy business all of a sudden, after investing a lot. Those people are, I believe, that are trying to do something for a private labeling or CMO. In general, people are avoiding. I think Hamid Saab and Javed Saab can comment also on it. Thank you.
My apology, I could not understand your question, though it was a very fine comment. Yeah. So, precisely, yeah?
Yeah, precisely. I think if you have seen your other colleagues or you see peers that they are trying to do, or definitely there is a discussion on board. Yes, is it like that, or it is just an impression you have shared with us?
Pharmaceutical distributors in other countries where we are exporting, they also have gone smart now, because when they act as a distributor and they have the fear of being taken away one fine day, and why they were investing in one brand. So that's why now they are pursuing to have their own brand names. This is a general observation, not only from Pakistani pharma companies, but also from the Indian or Bangladeshi companies as well. So a distributor sitting in Nigeria or Kenya, now he wishes to have his own brand name so that he can really work on it, invest on it, and protect the brand name. So that is also an opportunity, but it is again up to the manufacturing company to take it as an opportunity or to invest in their own brand names. Thank you very much.
So,
Assalamu alaikum.
This is the last question, please.
Right. My question is also with Mr. Nadeem Rehmat. Like you have taught us about the collaboration. Do we have any collaboration forum for Pakistani pharmaceutical companies? Or on the basis of, do we have ever evaluate the strengths, which company has which strength? Or we have a forum to discuss that how can we support each other?
Well, companies can collaborate in many ways, though I'm afraid that I really could not capture a question, but let me try. Companies can collaborate in many ways with each other. In some countries, the manufacturing side cannot be the applicant as well, and the vice versa as well. In those countries, companies can collaborate. Companies can collaborate for technology transfer. Companies can collaborate for dossier as well. At the moment, like one example is that we can buy the dossier from the European company, probably ranging from 30,000 to 50K euro as well. And if we buy those dossier, in that case, we may not require the bioequivalent study as well, so to say, because the procedures are all set in there. So there are many ways of collaboration. Of course, one company can be very good in the Kenyan market and the other company is not so good in that market. So maybe the product of company A can be taken by the company B to other market as well. So there are many forms up to the imagination of collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you, Ji. Finally, I would like to thank all the panelists for their valuable insight and sharing the way forward for the export. And I'm thankful to the audience as well for their patience listening. I think it was a wonderful session which has, highlighted what are the future of export, how can we, as an industry can go beyond whatever we are doing now, and what support we need from from DRAP and from the relevant ministries. So it was a wonderful session, and this is just the start. अभी सितारों से आगे जहाँ और भी हैं, बहुत आगे जाना है. So thank you very much. बहुत शुक्रिया.